So if you pay attention to the whole ranting shtick, you may have known a YouTuber by the name of RanterInShades who pretty much just does rants on metal elitists, music in general, and just pretty much anything in between. You may also know that I used to be a fan of him, and even had him boxed on my channel. Now, I do have to say though, in a bit of a retrospective sense, I slowly dwindled into not liking him. After the weeks of just slowly declining in our friendship, not really having anything to talk about, and just overall not him really being that good of a company. So I just decided, hey, let's remove him. And his content was something which slowly stopped, it stopped being something which I'm interested in. And I started to see a lot of the dissent that he was getting as rather warranted because, well, let's face it, his content's not that good. And here's my contentment towards it. So one of the many points that I have against RanterInShades is just its overall hypocrisy in just a lot of the stuff he says. However, I'll address that later in the video. What I'm going to address now is just the overlining point as to why I just dislike his content as a whole. Now, if you've watched his videos, you may notice that, his delivery isn't that good. By that, he speaks in a rather anxious tone, sounds as if he's reading off of a script, and it just overall sounds quite unnatural. He doesn't sound quite authentic in what he says. He doesn't really sound as if he's genuine in what he says because the words which are coming out of are really anxious. And through this, it just turns him into a shitty ranter. He sounds as if someone who's obviously reading from a script. I mean, anyone that can see beyond his shades can tell that he's reading from a script. And through this, I don't mind if you read from a script, but when it's obvious you're reading from a script, and when you sound so fucking obvious that you're reading from a script, then yeah, there's an issue. Not to mention how camera shy you sound. You sound so unnatural in your videos, cause you sound generally fucking anxious. You sound extremely uncomfortable in the way you speak. You don't really sound as if you have any sort of backbone behind you. And quite evident because you don't like conflict. Every single time a piece of drama comes down, where your friends happen to be the butt of it, you'll turn and say, oh, I'm gonna stay neutral. I find it quite ironic that someone that would publicly identify themselves as a ranter, and even put it in their fucking username, would not have any backbone in what he says. Someone who sounds incredibly anxious in the way he speaks, and is afraid of conflict. As previously stated, you fucking hate taking a side when your friends are the butt of drama. When it's obvious that you don't even fucking support them. I mean, if you supported them so fucking much, you wouldn't have kept quiet about the drama. You'd have actually spoken up and actually defended them. Like back in the M22 Frogger drama, for example. You stayed neutral on it, but it was obvious that you took my side. Because you kept quiet about it. You didn't want to lose his respect. You didn't want him to denounce you and completely alienate you from his life. But I just have to say, if someone is going to disassociate with you just because you took a different side against them in drama, then by your own admission, they aren't good friends. You made a video called Friendship versus Drama, where you talked about how petty it was to disassociate upon someone just because they have a different opinion. So why the fuck would it matter if you just took a different side? Why would that matter? Why do you always have to stay neutral in drama? And even when you do take an approach in drama shades, you take the approach that will give you the least backlash. Because you're afraid of confrontation. You're afraid of losing friends, cutting ties, saying an unpopular opinion. If you really cared about who was right or wrong, you would have sided with me when Danny compared me to someone who had child pornography. That goes without saying. Danny was in the wrong. Anyone with a function and comprehension of morals would know Danny fucked up. Danny's a douchebag. Danny's a piece of shit. And then you have the fucking nerve to act as if I'm the bad guy, just because I said in a Google Hangout that I don't have empathy for his fucking ass. Oh, I don't have empathy for the guy that's treated me like shit for a year? Oh, I'm such this horrible human being, aren't I? It couldn't be for the fact that I just judge people that are dicks to me as dicks. If you really cared about who's right or wrong in drama, when Brian turned and criticised Hodge for his whiny post, you would have sided with Brian, after Hodge started screaming about how he's the worst person ever, just because he dared to fucking criticize him. But no, you consoled Hodge. You consoled that piece of shit, just because, oh no, he's just angry. You care more about maintaining your status quo than you would ever give a fuck about who's right or wrong in drama. We've all established it. Your respect is so fucking disposable that it's meaningless. Now many of you may turn and say, oh but Lachlan, isn't it a bit arrogant to turn and say, oh you should just take my side because I'm obviously right. And to be fair, yeah, you're right, it does sound a bit arrogant. However, try and let me justify myself here. Me and Shades do have a similar moral ground. Me and Shades both agree that if someone does something which Danny's done, then yeah, that's fucked up. Same with Hodge, and same with so many other people that he associates with. He has the most twistable moral views ever though. You know, he allows himself to willfully change his moral views to fit his own friends. It's disgusting. He has no contingent or consistency in any of his choices of being friends with people. And the hypocrisy truly shines because in his friendship versus drama video, he said this.
Ending friendships is something I always strive to avoid having to do whenever I meet someone and become friendly with them. Unless I have a really good reason to disassociate myself from them, like if they were to spread rumors about me being a pedophile or something, then I will end that friendship.
You would disassociate with people that would make a pedophilia claim? Then why is it that you associate with Danny, who said that I am just as manipulative as a pedophile? Why is it that you still associate with him, despite him saying I'm just as bad as someone who distributed child pornography? Shades likes to hide behind a certain personality purely just for his reputation. He likes to act as if he's this reasonable and fair person in certain drama by turning and saying, oh, well, I would lose my respect for this person if they did this. For example, in the MrRepzion drama with iMustDestroyAll, he turned and said, I would lose respect for MrRepzion if he turned and name-dropped him or doc-dropped him. And what does MrRepzion do? He comments on several videos saying, MDA's real name is Matt Karp. His real name's Matt Karp. I know more about Matt Karp than he seems to know. You know, throwing the name out more times than I could fucking count. And what did Shades do? Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. Who is he to talk about who others associate with? And the fucking funny part is, he still acts as if he has room to criticise who other people associate with, because he went on my ass for associating with Marvels. And then his tagline, exercising my First Amendment rights vlog style, yet he has to be one of the most pussy ranters ever. Someone that takes the safest opinion in everything. Does hair length really matter? Does a musician's personality really affect how they are as a musician? He is afraid of any sort of criticism, that he doesn't even deserve the merit of saying, I exercise my First Amendment rights, cause you take the safest opinions ever. Especially given the fact you don't give a fuck about free speech, and it's purely fucking evident. Back when Jesus Christ was flagged down for making a negative video against you laughed at it. You laughed at his censorship. And I'm someone that if I think I have the right to say something, then I'm sure fucking well my enemies do. You claim to like free speech, yet laugh at censorship. You're a fucking hypocrite.